Tonight, Hurricane Irma's deadly havoc unleashed as millions brace for a massive storm surge.
Police investigating after a beer can was hurled onto the field during the NRL-NT Grand Final.
The Chief Minister heads to Canberra ready for a fracking showdown with the PM.
The man who stabbed a policeman at Maningrida reveals the bizarre reason behind the attack.
And implanting superhuman technology, is it too far? What you can do with a wave of your hand.
This is 9 News Darwin.
Good evening. It's now being called Florida's storm as the fury of Hurricane Irma is felt everywhere across the southern American state.
After decimating parts of the Caribbean, the monster system held nothing back for Florida, claiming at least another 3 lives and flattening almost everything in its path.
Irma hit Florida with every weapon she had.
As we go to air, Hurricane Irma is pummelling the city of Tampa. As mentioned, Nine's Tom Steinford is there and filed this report.
This is the eye of the hurricane that we are in right now. We've just stepped out really briefly from the building that we are taking shelter in to try and give you a look, but all power has been wiped out.
Vision has emerged of the moment a spectator hurled a can of alcohol onto the field during the weekend's NRL-NT Grand Final. It happened during the second half and was aimed at a Brothers player. Not long after, police were forced to intervene to calm the angry crowd. NRL-NT says the matter has been referred to police to investigate. We'll have more on this, plus a full match report coming up later in the bulletin.
Gary Higgins has labelled the Chief Minister hypocritical after Michael Gunner attacked the PM's criticism of the fracking moratorium. Mr Gunner has flown to Canberra for meetings with the Commonwealth, with the issue of developing onshore resources likely to be high on the agenda.
Hitting the airwaves for his regular Monday morning radio spot, Michael Gunner wasn't holding back.
A man who stabbed a police officer in the stomach earlier this year has pleaded guilty in the Supreme Court. Catherine Foran has the details.
A court has heard JPAD England wanted to go to jail the day he stabbed a police officer in the stomach. His father had just been sentenced to a term of imprisonment and the 19-year-old told his family he wanted to join him.
Staff at Palmerston Swimming and Fitness Centre have been set back hundreds of dollars after a group of kids broke in, only to leave with loose change and a sweet treat.
They took our cash drawer, they took a scanner and they just took stock. Yeah, so drinks and ice creams. Ice creams were thrown into our toddler pool, so yeah, just a little bit of fun, I suppose.
Anyone with information should contact police.
A former NT emergency services worker has finally been rewarded after risking his life to save tourists trapped in floodwaters almost 7 years ago. Cars were lost and a train completely submerged when the Edith River Bridge flooded in 2011.
It was the 27th of December 2011. 3 days of heavy rain flooded Edith River Bridge and left tourists stranded near Katherine.
Now let's take a look at the average price of fuel in Darwin. It's $1.26.4 per litre, a little more in Palmerston, $1.29.8 there. A jury has heard explosive allegations in the trial of the man accused of murdering a Queensland schoolgirl. It's the 6th day of the trial into the 16-year-old's death.
Jade Kendall, just 16, a teenager going to school in Gatton when she was allegedly murdered.
Police have uncovered a huge stash of weapons potentially linked to a decades-old murder case. A 66-year-old man has been arrested since the find, accused as an accessory to the shooting of Philip Carlisle in 1997.
A high-powered, deadly table of show and tell.
It's going to feel a whole lot like summer with a heatwave across the country's north this week. Nicole Rowles joins us now for a quick look at the details.
Well, the mercury has started creeping up and there'll be very steamy weather across the northern half of the country tomorrow, reaching 30 degrees in Queensland's far north as well as through the Northern Territory and through Western Australia. It's thanks to a big high pressure system that's stretching over much of the country, creating warm, dry conditions throughout the north. Some warmer winds also coming through from the northeast for both Queensland and the Northern Territory. I'll be back very soon to let you know just what's in store on the local forecast in the full weather report shortly. See you soon.
Thanks, Nicole. Coming up next in 9 News, what's this great white doing at a popular swimming spot?
Devastation from above, the extent of the Mexico quake revealed.
The Pope left with a black eye. What caused the almighty shiner?
And our pets have them, and we could too. Why you could soon be tapping your hand to pay for a coffee or a trip on the bus. A boy has paid tribute to the young father who tried to rescue him from dangerous surf before losing his own life. Sean Oliver didn't hesitate when he saw the 4 children being washed away at a Wollongong beach, and he paid the ultimate price for his heroism.
As a devoted dad, Sean Oliver loved kids.
Drone footage has revealed the extent of the devastation in southern Mexico caused by the most violent earthquake to hit the country in more than a century. Hundreds of aftershocks are making the huge task of digging through the rubble slow and dangerous as authorities search for survivors. The 8.1 magnitude quake, which struck off the coast of Chiapas, has left at least 90 people dead. Riot police have clashed with angry protesters on the streets of Santiago as a demonstration marking the anniversary of the Pinochet dictatorship disintegrated into violence. Hundreds of Chileans took part in the annual march 44 years after the military coup which left then-President Salvador Allende dead. Police used water cannon and tear gas against the protesters who pelted them with rocks. This could top the list of the more unusual workplace injuries. Pope Francis has been left with a black eye after smacking his head on the Pope-mobile while wrapping up his tour of Colombia. The pontiff pushed on, spending the day with hundreds of well-wishers despite the almighty shiner.
Imagine never having to take your wallet with you again. Coming up, the microchip implants making payments a breeze, from coffees to groceries, even public transport. What you can do with just a touch of your hand. But is it going too far? That report a little later. But ahead in 9 News, Australian researchers' major breakthrough to treat a deadly skin cancer.
How driverless cars will change life on our roads. Will you even need a licence?
And a sneak peek ahead of the same-sex marriage survey.
We've been given a preview of the voting form for the same-sex marriage survey. From tomorrow, the Australian Bureau of Statistics will begin sending out envelopes to 16 million voters. They'll be asked to answer yes or no to the question, should the law be changed to allow same-sex couples to marry? It's hoped the clean and simple format will allow a smooth voting process. The Prime Minister, knowing Australians are taking a dim view of electricity prices and fears of blackouts, today had a crunch time meeting with the head of power giant AGL. Mr Turnbull was pressuring the company to either sell or hold off shutting down the Liddell power station in 2022.
Meeting with the Prime Minister.
AGL boss Andrew Vesey in the middle of the Canberra power struggle, trying to avoid the media's questions.
Paul's in with sport and the Cowboys receive a raucous welcome home.
And deservedly so, Sam, but can they overcome the Eels in the next round of finals? Darius Boyd's Hemi, will he make it? It's no worries as Nadal cruises to another Grand Slam. And will Australia's Tour of India start a war of words?
Tonight's Sports Report is proudly brought to you by Harvey Norman Electrical. Shop with confidence. Shop online and collect from the store.
The North Queensland Cowboys have received a welcome home worthy of a grand final win, arriving in Townsville today. While they're still soaking up the euphoria of the victory over Cronulla, they're hoping that this is just the beginning.
A fitting reception for the homecoming heroes.
Shortly after their loss to North Queensland, Cronulla coach Shane Flanagan went on the tirade, blaming officials for the result. Manly's Trent Barrett did the same after the Sea Eagles were also knocked out. Today, the NRL hit back, issuing the two coaches with breach notices.
Unfortunately, we've developed a culture in our game of blaming match officials for a loss.
More than 300 athletes competed at the NT Gymnastics Championships over the weekend, representing 6 clubs from across the territory. The competition's this year's main event. It includes artistic gymnastics, acrobatic, cheerleading and rhythmic displays. Tumbling was added to the competition for the first time this year, and Tyson West secured his spot as the new leader of men's gymnastics in the Territory. Geelong's Tom Hawkins insists the team's mood remains optimistic. That's despite Friday night's crushing finals defeat to Richmond. The Cats are adamant they can bounce back against Sydney. NRL NT is still working to decide what action it takes after a spectator threw a can on the field during the grand final at the weekend. The Northern Sharks claimed back-to-back premierships, holding off Brothers to claim the title of champions.
It was the most important game of the year, and for Sharks, a chance to go back-to-back. Fresh after a week off, Brothers showed it wasn't going to be easy, but an early penalty against them helped the Sharks find the line.
And that is our look at sports for this evening. Coming up though, right after this break, it's Nicole, and she's got the local weather details just for you.
Taking a look at finance now, the All Ords finished higher, up 35 points, and one Aussie dollar is currently buying 80 US cents and 66 euro cents. Using public transport, getting access to buildings and paying for coffee is now as simple as a touch of your hand. A microchip implanted beneath the skin gives people the same capabilities as dozens of cards and devices, and it's not as painful as you might think.
What was once confined to science fiction movies.
This may be a little uncomfortable.
That is not for me, Jono.
I'd spent way too much money, Sam.
It's time now for a look at the weather, and Nicole Rowles joins us
with what we can expect for the week ahead.
We've sweated through a very warm day in Darwin thanks to warm wind gusts from the north. 21 degrees to start the day with a top of 34, humidity peaking around 46%. Taking a look across the Territory, 34 degrees in Palmerston, Howard Springs and also in Katherine. A cooler day for Nhulunbuy with a top of 28. A cool 18 to start the day in Tennant Creek, topping out at 34 there. Cool in Alice Springs as well with 7 to 33 and 12 to 32 in Yalara. A high remains over the Territory, keeping skies mostly clear in the days ahead. Onshore winds getting reasonably strong, up to 25 kilometres tomorrow. Taking a look around the country now, a pleasant 20 to 29 in Cairns tomorrow. Adelaide tops of 21 degrees with some showers. And if you're lucky enough to be heading overseas, Denpasar will be rainy tomorrow with a top of 32. Closer to home, 36 and sunny in Palmerston. The same in Howard Springs and Katherine. Nhulunbuy cooler again with a top of 31 degrees. And a warm top of 34 in Tennant Creek. Chilly to start the day in Alice Springs. 7 to 32, 10 to 34 in Yalara. Boaties, if you're heading out tomorrow, winds will get up to 15 knots from the northwest. Seas below a metre and high tide is due around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If you're casting a line tomorrow, have a look for mackerel out wide of Dundee and also out at Bass Reef, Barra on the Chew in the harbour estuaries, and a few dewies around the Narrows at Adelaide River at the bottom of low tide. Tim Bolsh caught this beautiful 59-centimetre barra just 10 minutes into his trip up Blessers Creek on small plastics. They're definitely the way to go. Well done, Tim. Enjoy your prize pack. A pleasant 22 to 34 in Darwin tomorrow. A bit windy around lunchtime, getting up to 25 kilometres from the northeast. A chilly morning in the rural area, starting out the day well below average at 18 with a top of 37. A bit of cloud around Palmerston, cool 19 in the morning, tops of 35 and further afield, showers and 32 in Denpasar. In the coming days in the city, we'll start to see a bit of cloud moving in, the maximum dropping back to 33 tomorrow, 34 on Thursday and 35 by the end of the week.
Thanks, Nicole. And that's 9 News for this Monday evening.
Thanks for joining us from all of us here. Good night.
Good night.